The Sacramento Kings, for I would say the last decade and a half, have pretty much been a dumpster fire. From making horrible draft decisions to making bad trades. And even though they had a star in DeMarcus Cousins during the middle 2010s, they still couldn't even sniff the playoffs. And now, the Kings have built a pretty good core from bad draft picks or good high lottery picks that they use to draft some good, some bad players. And now where they stand for the 16th year in a row, they're probably not going to be in the playoffs. Probably. There's of course a play-in and you never know. But this leaves the Kings with another important decision. After what we've seen from Tyrese Halliburton and what he's done without De'Aaron Fox, and now we see Fox coming back and they're not winning games, it's definitely a tough decision that I personally think that the Kings must make. So before we get started, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, as it further motivates me to make more videos like this. So let's get right into it. So first, let's look at the Kings' offensive rating. They're currently 18th in offense, which their coach is, who's their coach? Alvin Gentry. But I don't know, I mean, he's definitely an upgrade from Luke Walton, but 18th in offense, I guess they're not the best offensive team. Just De'Aaron Fox, of course, is like a 23, 7 assist type of guy. And yes, he hasn't been as good as last year, but he's still a good player. But Tyrese Halliburton, man, he's really shown that he can be a franchise player on this team. When Fox was out during health and safety protocols, he was averaging like 21 points, double-digit assists, amazing efficiency. And Tyrese is looking like a really good player. In the start of the season, he was really struggling, and without Fox as a point guard, he's just been thriving more as a shooting. He's just thriving more as a point guard than a shooting guard, which begs the question, what's going on with De'Aaron Fox? So I'm going to propose some more De'Aaron Fox trades later on, but let's just talk about their roster in general. They're currently 26th in defense, and that's just been the story for the last couple years. Their defense hasn't been good. De'Aaron Fox, I would say an average defender. Tyrese, a good defender. Harrison Barnes, I would say a decent defender, average defender. You have like Marvin Bagley, not a good defender. Buddy Hield, not a good defender. Rashawn Holmes, he's a decent defender. He is kind of undersized though, but this defense just isn't good. And I think that one of the best ways to get from a bad team to a good team is through defense. Just look at two examples, the Knicks and the Cavs. Last year, the Knicks were pretty much they were the 4th seed after coming off getting like one of the worst picks in the draft. And do you know how they turned it around? Tom Thibodeau's defense. Their offense still wasn't good. I would say it improved a little bit because of Julius Randle, but it was their defense leading them to the 4th place team, and that really allowed them to thrive. And then look at the Cavs. Just last year, they had the 3rd overall pick, and this year, they're 3rd in defense. Look at it. They're 5 games over 500. Now their offense has been probably better than the Knicks because they have offensive players like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Ricky Rubio. Hopefully he gets better. But like, they centered their identity around defense, and I think that's maybe what the Kings should do. Now the problem is, this Kings team isn't built for defense. You have, yes, Tyrese is a good defender, but like I said, they don't really have many other good defenders. They have a couple average defenders and below average defenders, but I think they should really build their team around defense and maybe get a new coach. I would personally maybe get like a younger coach who just someone like a Willie Green type player. I know they can't sign Willie Green, but like a young player, like 1st, 2nd year coach that can just grow with the team. And this Kings team has to make a tough decision, and I think that personally, I know it's only been 2 years, but I don't think that Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox can be their backcourt of the future. They just haven't proven, like, I know they are young. Maybe they're going to just prove me wrong and they're going to be amazing in the future, but I just don't like the fit. Yes, it hypothetically would work, but 2 point guards, I mean, like we've seen, of course, like the bubble OKC Thunder, they had 3 point guards and they still dominated. But I just don't like, yes, Tyrese can play off the ball, but you want the ball in his hand, and De'Aaron, you want the ball in his hands too. And like someone like Shea can play off the ball with the Thunder, and I think that's because that OKC team was because Chris Paul was the main guy, and Chris Paul is the point guard. But going back to this Kings team, I personally would trade De'Aaron Fox. He has a lot of value, and maybe it's a hot take. Maybe a lot of Kings fans say that, oh, we should keep Tyrese and De'Aaron. But personally, as an outsider, as someone who doesn't watch the Kings every game, and yes, I don't really watch them that much, but from what I can see, they should trade Fox. And I'm just going to propose a couple trades that I think that can happen. First, De'Aaron Fox, the New Orleans Pelicans, where they center a deal centered around De'Aaron Fox for Brandon Ingram. Now, I don't know if this is going to be real because, like, the salaries match up, but, like, maybe the Pelicans don't want to do it. But just like for the Kings, they get another scorer, a wing, which I think that would pair up really well with Halliburton as that go-to scorer, that lanky defender that you can trust. And for the Pelicans, we've seen that B.I. Zion, not the Mason fit, and De'Aaron, he can drive to the basket, he can throw lobs. His jump shot's been getting a lot better too, and I personally like that fit a lot. Just like Zion and De'Aaron Fox, I think is a better fit than Zion and Brandon Ingram. And I also think that Tyrese Halliburton and Brandon Ingram is a better fit than Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox. So personally, I really like that trade. Kings fans, Pelicans fans, tell me in the comments if you like that trade. Now the second trade is De'Aaron Fox to the Miami Heat for Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. Something around that. I know the salaries probably don't match up, but I think that Tyler Hero can be a really good cornerstone alongside this Heat team. But if they disappoint again in this playoffs, I think that getting De'Aaron Fox would be really good. Yes, the spacing isn't as good because Jimmy, not really the best 3-point shooter. Bam won't even shoot threes. De'Aaron, not the best 3-point shooter, but I think just getting that star power. Kyle Lowry is getting older, and maybe he can mentor De'Aaron Fox, or maybe they can run double backcourt. I don't feel the best about this because, like, Tyler Hero's been good. Duncan Robinson is still a good player. Yes, he's been struggling, but he's a good shooter. He's pretty much there to match up the salaries, but I wouldn't say this is the most realistic trade. I would say Heat fans probably wouldn't do it for how good Tyler Hero has been, but I feel like that the Kings are in the middle of nowhere, and I really like the Tyler Hero, Tyrese Halliburton fit. Tyrese can handle the ball, just be the playmaker, guard their best guard pretty much, and Tyler Hero is going to give you buckets, and they're both around similar age, so I would like that fit for the Kings. And for the Heat, yes, it's not as good, but say if they lose in the first round, the second round, I would say they should blow it up, or maybe give it 2 years, I would say, because this team is still good. Jimmy, Bam, Kyle, Tyler, Duncan, that's still a good team, but if they feel like they're stuck, I think this could be definitely an option. And then, this is probably the least realistic, I would say, but De'Aaron Fox to Celtics for De'Aaron Fox for a Jaylen Brown swap. I know Jaylen Brown just dropped 50, and Celtics fans don't want to trade Jaylen Brown, but if they lose in the first round, like, we know that Jaylen and Jason aren't perfect fits. I think that they can fit well. Oh, they can be the two best players on a team if there's, like, a playmaker on a team, if they have other good defenders, a lot of shooting. And I think that if they can get De'Aaron Fox without trading Brown or Tatum, I think that would be such a good fit, but I just don't think it's possible. And for the Kings side, trading De'Aaron for Jaylen Brown just dropped 50, like I said, and can be a really good fit alongside Tyrese. Both can clamp up, both can shoot very well, and just Tyrese being able to play make could definitely help a lot with Jaylen Brown. And I think that it would be an interesting fit for the Kings getting Jaylen Brown, but I don't really see the Celtics doing it. Maybe if you throw in, like, Davion Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox or Jaylen Brown, just throwing some stuff out, but, like, maybe that would be more interesting. But those three trades, I would say, just came up to my mind when I thought of a blockbuster De'Aaron Fox trade. Comment down below your thoughts, but just right now, they're not looking to trade De'Aaron Fox, but I definitely think that they should consider it for how good Tyrese has been. Maybe go for a Ben Simmons deal. Maybe they trade Fox or Ben Simmons. I don't really know about that, but I think that this Kings team has to make a big change. Maybe they'll just keep this whole team and be bad for mediocrity for a long time, and then they blow it up. Or maybe De'Aaron and Tyrese work, and they just get some other players that they can build around alongside those two guards, like more good defenders, more size, and maybe that could work. But personally, I see De'Aaron Fox trading for assets is the best way.